Okay, before we get started today on assignment 11, I always want to make sure that you guys understand that you need to make sure you're getting all your assignments completed. If you open up SIS and look at your grades, I have entered in assignment 10, and for my regular classes, the ALEKS assignment that went with assignment 10. A lot of you guys, I don't know what you're doing in class while I'm gone, but these do count on your grade, and there's no chance of making them up. So if you have not done assignment 10, or if you've not done a homework assignment number 10 in ALEKS, you need to get those, you need to log in and get those done, okay? You have plenty of time in class, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, okay? So quit wasting your time, get logged in and get those done. For those that have completed assignment 10, I appreciate you guys taking the time and using it wisely, and we're going to move on to assignment 11 today. And those that haven't, well, you might want to jump on board and get going on assignment 11 as well. So hopefully you have paper and pencil out. And here's what we're looking at today. So we have been looking at scientific notation, taking a number from standard form and writing into scientific notation. Well, today, what happens when we have two numbers in scientific notation? So we have 3 times 10 to the 4th power. And we want to times that by 2 times 10 to the 2nd power. So we have two numbers in scientific notation, and we want to be able to multiply these together. Okay? So here's my little shortcut for this. If I pretend this is really like 3, and let's just change this 10 to the 4th. Let's change it to a last name like we had before, like 3a to the 4th. And we want to times that by 2, and then it has like the same last name. Let's just change it to like a to the 2nd. So I just changed this and changed that. Well, back when we did this, what did I do with the 3 and the 2? We were able to times the 3 and the 2 together because there is variables in play. So we simply just took 3 times 2 and got 6. And then when we multiplied exponents, what was the rule here? We added those. So we simply just add the 4 and the 2 together, and we got a to the 6th power. Okay? That's kind of the same thing here. We're going to treat these like the same last names. They're both times 10 to some power. So we just simply times the two numbers in the front together. So 3 times 2 is 6. And then we just add the exponents. We use those rules that we've been doing before. So we get times 10 and 4 and 2 to the power of 6. And there's our answer. Okay, now stay with me. There is a trick coming after this, so don't think, oh, I can turn the video off and do the assignment right away. There is a catch, so make sure you're watching. Let's look at another one. Let's say we have 4 times 10 to the 2nd, and we want to times that by 2 times 10 to the negative 5th. Okay, so once again, all we got to do is just times the two numbers in the front. 4 times 2, and we get 8. And then we just add the exponents together. I don't care, it's negative, that's fine. Use your calculator if you need to. 2 plus a negative 5 turns out to be a negative 3. And we're done. It's okay, it's negative. Don't try to do what we did before and move it upstairs, downstairs, nothing like that. That is okay. Scientific notation, if you remember from assignment 10, can be with a negative exponent, so that's fine. Just simply times two front numbers, and then we're going to add the exponents, so we get negative 3. Okay? We do have some tricky ones coming up. Stay with me. Let's change it. Let's make it a little harder. Let's add 1.7 times 10 to the 2nd, and we're going to times that by 3.1 times 10 to the 4th power. Okay, I don't care that these are decimals either, so that's fine. Just use your calculator. Type that in. So 1.7 times 3.1, and it turns out to be 5.27. And then just simply add our exponents. So 2 plus 4 turns out to be 10 to the 6th power. So there's my final answer. 5.27 times 10 to the 6th. Okay? I want you guys to try one of these, and then I'm going to get to the crazy stuff. So 1.9 times 10 to the 4th. And let's times that by 3.6 times 10 to the 5th. Okay? So you guys try that one real quick. In your calculator, you should have went 1.9 times 3.6, and that should have gave you 6.84. And then what do we do with the exponents again? We're just going to add those together, and we get times 10 to the 9th power. And that's it. Okay, but let's look at this situation. Let's say we got 3.7 times 10 to the 5th, and I want to times that by 5.2 times 10 to the 2nd. Actually, let's make that a -2. Okay, so same thing, use your calculator. If I go 3.7 times 5.2, you should end up with 19.2 times 10. And then what are we doing? We add our exponents, or times our exponents. Let's give it away. Times our exponents, we're going to add those together. So 5 plus a -2 is 3. Okay, so look at this. Is that correct? What did we say the rule for scientific notation was? That whenever we times a number, the number must be written in the form of 1 through 10. Is this number between 1 and 10? No, it's too big. Okay, so this is going to happen sometimes. I made sure that on every one that we did to start, 6, 8, 5.27, and 6.84, these always came out between 1 and 10. So sometimes you're okay, and that's your answer. But if we times, we're getting bigger most of the time, and we're getting too big. So we got 19.2. So what happens in this case? Here's the catch. So if it's too big, we need to move this decimal back over 1 time. So then it becomes 1.92 times 10 to what? Well, we just had to move it 1 more time because it was too big. And remember, positive means bigger, so we need to add 1 in. And we get 1.92 times 10 to the 4th power. Okay, that's the catch. So sometimes this is going to happen. Not all the time, but sometimes. So you guys, look at this one. If I have 4.8 times 10 to the 2nd, and I want to times that by 5.1 times 10 to the -4th. Try that one. Okay, so in your calculator, if you times these two numbers together, you should get 24.48. And then when we add our exponents together, 2 plus a -4 turns out to be a -2. Look at your final answer. Are we okay? No, we're too big. So this decimal is going to move over 1 time. So the number fits between 1 and 10. So we get 2.448 times 10. And we need to add 1 back in. So now we get -1. And there's my final answer. Okay. This is how we times scientific notation. Okay, that's how we multiply them together. So that's the first part of the assignment. The second part of the assignment is what happens when we want to divide them. So we have 9 times 10, let's say to the third power, and we want to divide that by 3 times 10 to the second power. Well, same rules go for division. Okay, I would normally just divide 9 over 3, so just divide those. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then what was our rule when we divided exponents? We subtracted. So 3 minus 2 is 1. So there's my answer. Okay, so you guys, if we had 4.2 times 10 to the 7th divided by 2 times 10 to the 5th, try that one real quick. So in your calculator, 4.2 divided by 2 turns out to be 2.1. And then subtract, when we divide our exponents, and we get 10 to the second power. Okay, let's look at one with negative exponents. 9.3 times 10 to the second divided by 3 times 10 to the negative 5th. So in your calculator, 9.3 divided by 3 is 3.1 times 10. Okay, now use your calculator here, guys. It doesn't hurt you to use your calculator. So you type this in, what's the rule? It's 2 minus a negative 5. So 2 minus a negative 5, that turns into a big plus sign. So you really get 2 plus 5, and you should get 7. Trust your calculator. Put it in there. 2 minus negative 5 is 7. And there's my answer. Okay? So when we multiply the first two numbers together, and what's the rule when we multiply exponents? We add those. When we divide the first two numbers, and what's the rule for dividing exponents? We subtract. Okay? This is assignment 11. Make sure you're getting assignment 11 completed. If you have not gone back, have not completed assignment 10 or Alex assignment 10, I'm not going to keep logging back in to see if you've done them or not. So if you're one of the kids that have not done those, you need to send me an email saying that you've completed them. Okay, otherwise you're going to stay at a 0. I'm not going to keep logging back in to see who's turned them in. Okay, so that's kind of the punishment for being late on them. So if you go back in and do them, which you should, email me and tell me you've done them so I can give you a score. Assignment 11, make sure you get completed and get that turned in. Next week, when I get back, we have a test on all of this stuff. So make sure you're staying caught up. Plus, we also have the district CIA test, and that's the end of the quarter. There is no time for makeup. So you do get on the test, great. If you don't, well, maybe you should be paying attention. Okay? So if you got any questions, email me.